here, Jackie Brown. Oh, let me turn this music off. Hi guys. Apologize if that music was blaring in your ear. I was trying to figure out how to get your comments up here. Since I did my last live, they've changed the format here a little bit. So welcome, Jackie, Billy, Annabelle. I'm starting to get a lot of people show up, and it's kind of cool to be able to just do an impromptu live like this and have people show up. I've said it a million times, but I'll say it again. I appreciate you guys, your love, your support. I hope everybody's doing good. Robin Phillips, I'm going to put your comment up here just so everybody can see all the people that are showing up here on an impromptu live at 11 a.m. Arizona time. And I'm getting all kinds of people show up here. So this is something that I decided to do spur of the moment, guys. If you know me, if you know anything about me, and you've watched me do videos and lives and whatnot, you'll know that I like to follow my intuition, and I like to just go with my gut feeling. And so when inspiration strikes, I like to go with it. And I don't do it all the time. I probably should do it more, but I don't. Sometimes I just talk myself out of it or whatever. But today I decided I was going to go ahead and make this video and post it right here on my main channel, which, Tiger True Crime, or it's under my name now, Tyson Draper. But I want to talk about the Suzanne Morphew case because there's some things that remain unresolved, as many of you know. And the biggest one is whodunit. Now that we have Suzanne Morphew's body, we can check that off our list of major things that we need to know. That was the biggest thing. Where is Suzanne? Where is Suzanne? And that has been answered, but the big question now, who done it? And we've theorized and hypothesized over the last few years about who did it and whatnot. And my opinion's never going to change, and until I have hardcore proof that that changes it, that something's different. But I still believe that Barry Morphew is responsible for Suzanne's disappearance. But I don't know. I haven't really delved into it the way that I should lately, because I've been busy over here. As you can see up in the top right-hand corner, I have a website that I'm doing, the GilaValleyTribune.com, over here in southeastern Arizona. And so I've been really busy trying to get that off the ground. And this is a unique place, guys, where I'm at, a very unique place. And I'm going to talk more about that later on in this, in this live, but I wanted to just kind of throw that out there. I have been super busy with that. I'm not really sure how this is going to go because, like I said, I like to just strike when it's hot, and this is kind of what I'm thinking, though, ladies and gentlemen. I've shared some of the details of all of this before, and I have some videos posted right here on YouTube about things leading up to Suzanne Morphew's disappearance. But lately, I've been thinking a lot about my daughter in Colorado, and surprise, if you guys didn't know that, if you didn't know I had a daughter in Colorado, I do. And she turned 8 years old on January 5th, and she's in Manassas, Colorado. That's a small town just south of Alamosa and not too far from Salida, actually. Just kind of a straight shot from Salida straight south. It's right past the New Mexico border. If you're coming up through New Mexico and you come up through Santa Fe and Espanola and Ojo Caliente, trust me, I've driven that route many, many times. It's a beautiful drive. But right as you cross the border, into Colorado, you're going to run into this little teeny tiny town, kind of out, off the main road a little bit, off the beaten path. And it's 1 square mile. It's 1 square mile. It's a really small town. And that's where my daughter lives, and her name's Jersey. And I want to show you a picture of her. And people might say, oh, why you show? No, I want to show a picture of her because I want you to see how beautiful she truly is. It's kind of blurry. That one's kind of blurry. But I'll try to pull up a better picture than that. Her birthday came and went, her 8th birthday on January 5th. And I haven't seen her since she was about maybe 1.5 years old. 1.5 years old. And that right there is one of the things that still remains unresolved. And I want to talk about this. And then I want to, of course, we're going to also talk about kind of where the Suzanne Morphew case is right now, where it stands, and kind of how all of this ties together. But when I first met my ex, my daughter Jersey's mom, I was working as a school teacher on the reservation out here in Arizona. I had a good job, was loving what I did. And at the time, guys, I really didn't lean like one way or the other politically. I didn't really care. I didn't, growing up in the 80s in Arizona, in my situation, we didn't care about politics. We didn't care if you were Democrat, Republican, independent, whatever. None of that stuff mattered. I mean, we were all just friends, and it didn't matter what color your skin was. Some of my best friends, we were just kind of a mixed bag of kids and just having fun. And we didn't worry about that kind of stuff. So anyway, so when I met my ex, I told her my situation, that I had 3 kids out here in Arizona, and I couldn't leave because we were very close, very, very close. And I had my time with them every other weekend, every Sunday night, every Wednesday night. And it was like clockwork. And we were going on these trips and we were having fun. And I was just doing the single parent thing. And that was the agreement, and that was the understanding. And so anyway, I've shared this before, but I'll kind of just touch on it again. When I met this gal from Manassas, Colorado, we hit it off really well, and we talked about being together. And so she packed up all of her stuff, packed a U-Haul, and came out here to Arizona. And we were living here, and we were blending our families, and we were doing really, really well. We were doing good. And as time went on, let's say about like 8 months, 6 to 8 months into this, I was going to work every day, and I was busy, and I was doing some stuff on the side like I always was. I was flipping houses in the summer, had some rentals, had a lot of stuff going on. Very, very busy guy. And one day I went to work, which was about an hour away from my house, and I get a text message from her, and she's, she sent me a picture of the pregnancy test and all that. And I said, that's great. I said, I'm happy, even though, we have all these kids and all these responsibilities. I'm super happy about this. And we're going to make this a very joyous time. And this is a huge blessing in our lives. That's the way I looked at it. So that was on a Wednesday. And so later that weekend, I took her out to eat. We went to the movie. We went and had a great time, came home, hung out, and laughed and joked and had a great time. Now, here's where it gets weird, ladies and gentlemen. I'm giving you that background because that's the honest truth. We never really had any arguments or fights whatsoever. In fact, the only thing I can remember us ever discussing, I wouldn't even call it an argument, was just stuff about the kids, like putting shoes away or or, enforcing the rules and stuff like that. So it wasn't anything big. Well, anyway, that very next day, after we went out to eat and to the movie and all that, the very next day, she up and left. And I came home to an empty house. All my furniture was gone. And I was totally 100% devastated. And I can't even put into words. Words couldn't even describe the pain that I felt. I called my mom. My mom came over. She was sweeping up the dust bunnies that were from underneath the couch, and I was laying on the floor in the fetal position. And she told me that I laid on the floor like that for 3 days, and I didn't eat. I was just totally devastated. And I was trying to figure out what was going on. And I was trying to text her, and I was trying to call her, and I was trying to figure all this out. And so at first, she was ignoring me. She wouldn't return my phone calls or my texts or anything. And then finally, after a day or two, she said, yeah, I'm just coming up here to visit my mom for Mother's Day. This was in May. And I'm going to come back. And I said, well, this is a really weird, strange, way of going and visiting your mom for Mother's Day. What's really going on? And so she tried to get me to move up there. She said, the only way this is going to work is if you come up to Colorado and live up here. And I said, I can't do that. I said, I have a job here. My job's here. My kids are here, most importantly. And when I bounced that news off of them, they were little and they were devastated, and they were begging me, don't go, Dad, don't go. Please stay here. Please stay here. So, and then on the other hand, she was begging me, please come up here. Please come up here. And so I was torn. I was torn for a long time. And as a result of that, well, let me say this first. Right after she left, I got a promotion at work. I got promoted to be the principal of an alternative school out there where I was working. And when I took this job at the alternative school, it was an absolute disaster. They had burned down mind you, this is on the Native American reservation. So they had burned down the restrooms. They had graffitied everywhere. There was tumbleweeds and weeds everywhere. And it was a disaster. They were getting ready to shut this school down. And the superintendent, who was a little old Native lady who really liked me a lot, her name was Miss Steele. And she called me in her office one day and she said, Mr. Draper, I was looking through your file and I see you have your principal's certificate, and we really like you as a teacher. You're doing a great job. But we want to ask you if you'd be interested in coming over to this alternative school and getting it straightened out and being the principal over there. And I told her my feelings about it. And I really liked where I was at. I was teaching first and second grade PE, the little guys. And we had these unit plans that the kids absolutely loved. We had built this bowling alley for the kids called Apache Lanes. And it was really cool. And that's one of the reasons why the superintendent liked me so much, is because she came by and saw what we were doing. And I was doing a really, really good job, like I always do, teaching the standards, making sure the kids got their steps in. We had pedometers. We had all kinds of really cool things going on. We had about an $8 million grant, federal grant out there. So it was a hard decision, but I went ahead and took that position to be the principal. And I was going through a lot in my personal life, as I just described. And I used that as motivation to focus on the school. And I turned that school around. I didn't really know what I was doing, but in terms of being out there in that situation, but I just let my instincts kick in, and I started getting in the car, and I was driving around to all my students' homes there on the res and telling them that we missed them and that we want them to come back to school, and that we missed you guys, and come back and get your diploma. Some of these kids were fresh out of jail, juvie. Some were, pregnant at a very young age. These kids had a lot of problems. And when I first started going around, um, a lot of the kids didn't want me there. They were sicking their dog on me, and some of them were halfway drunk, hungover. This was a very poor area, lots of poverty. But as I kept going around and I didn't give up, some of these students started seeing that I really did care about them and that I wasn't going to just stop coming around. And so they started to come around and they started to let me in more and more, and I'd go visit with them and stuff. And pretty soon I had all these kids coming back to school working on their high school diploma. And a lot of them graduated. A lot of them got the necessary credits through one of the programs that we were using there. It was all online. And the school board, let me just say it this way. When I was at a school board meeting out there one day, one of the school board members said, "Who's this guy, Mr. Draper, over at the alternative school? And what's his secret?" He says, "We went from 33% attendance rate all the way to 90, and it's climbing, and we got kids graduating, and the facilities look sparkling clean." I had some contractors come in, and we did all kinds of construction, and we got some grass planted. We got a basketball hoop up, and we got these kids really, really working hard. And so the superintendent was blown away. She was like, "Wow, I knew I could count on Mr. Draper to do this." And so she got a hold of me about a few months later and said, "We want to give you another promotion. We want to make you our principal over at our main high school now, not the alternative school." And so she moved me over there mid-year, and I went from having 60 students and 2 staff members, very small setting, to a huge setting of having 600 plus students, and I don't even remember how many staff members, but it was over 100, and it was a nightmare, and it was really, really a horrible situation over there. And I tried and tried for many months to fix that school, but honestly, guys, I don't say this lightly because I don't give up easily, and I'm a fighter. But I don't know if Jesus Christ himself could have came and fixed that school. That school was a mess. My first week there, I had a mom come in, and she was in tears, and she said her freshman daughter was missing, that she never came home from school, and she never got on the bus. And so I was talking to some people. I was brand new. I didn't know how everything was working around there, the security cameras and all that. Well, anyway, to make a long story short, this girl had been kidnapped by this guy that she met online from New Mexico. He was fresh out of prison. He had charges, child molestation, child endangerment, those type of things. And he got this freshman girl and took her all the way to Utah, and then dropped her off back in Arizona somewhere at a McDonald's. And so I highlight that example because I want you guys to understand that this was a very difficult school to be at. And when I realized that I was probably not going to be able to make a positive difference the way that I wanted, and some other things that happened, I had some community members that were following me home, which is, like I said, was like an hour drive. They were trying to run me off the road. They were upset because I was in there and I was expelling students and I was cleaning house. We had a kid that bashed in another kid's face with brass knuckles, and I looked at his file, and it was about that thick of violent, interactions and stuff. And he had been given so many chances, and I kicked him out of school permanently. And I made some parents mad and whatnot. So anyway, that's when I decided to go ahead and quit. And I walked away from education altogether. And I started going to Colorado quite a bit, even though I wasn't able to see my daughter, because now I want to get back to that because this is all going to tie together. I couldn't see my daughter because she was upset, the mom. She was upset that I wasn't moving up there to be with her, that she says, okay, well, if you're going to be like that, then you're never going to see your daughter. You're never going to see your daughter. Now, I mentioned at the top of this program that it was a small town, that it is a small town called Manassas, Colorado. And you have to understand the dynamics of this town, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm going to do my best to explain it. But unless you have grown up the way I have or like they have there, you're not going to get the full gist of it. But let me tell you something. This little town was founded way back in the 1800s by Mormon pioneers. By Mormon pioneers that came in here and they established this little town based off of the grid, kind of like they did in Salt Lake City. And they set up this little town way out there, and this is in the 1800s. And you got to understand that when the Mormons crossed the plains, the pioneers, they were heavily persecuted. They were heavily persecuted. And they were driven. This is how their history goes. They were driven from one place to the other, and they finally settled in Salt Lake City. So the Mormon mentality for a lot of people, especially men, younger men, older men, whatever, they're very protective of their own. They're very protective of their own. And I know that because I'm from a small Mormon community out here in southeastern Arizona. And actually me and my ex, we met through the church, through a little church website. So that's how we got to know each other. And it's very similar here, but where I'm at, but it's a little bit bigger. And so you don't get quite the impact like you do there. Well, when my ex went back to Manassas, Colorado, she told everybody a bunch of lies about me, including the courts and everybody. And it was false. And as you guys know, I like to do my research. And so as I started researching what was really going on here, I started to realize that there were haters and there were people from Arizona, from my hometown, that saw her here and heard that I got married and that I was with this gal. And they started contacting her parents in Manassas, Colorado, and telling them lies. So I was getting it on both ends, which is wrong. And now, you know what, guys? I don't have nothing to hide. I'll look right in this camera. I don't have nothing to hide. I would gladly stand before anybody and tell them the truth. And that's exactly why I'm making this video. And everybody always says, yeah, there's always two sides to the story and the truth lies somewhere in between. Well, you know what? Nobody ever really got to hear my side of the story. And what happened here is wrong on so many levels. It's very, very wrong. This should never happen to any father. They should never, ever be banned from seeing their children. It's cruel and unusual punishment. And I have bit my tongue this entire time, just waiting to see how this was all going to play out. And, okay, so, there might be people out there that say, oh, okay, well, why didn't you get a lawyer? Why didn't you go fight? Why didn't you do? I did. As a matter of fact, look, here's a picture of me and my dad in Manassas, Colorado. And I don't know why these are so blurry, but that's me and my dad, and we're standing in Manassas, Colorado on their main street because that was one of the times we were up there going to court, trying to get my rights established and trying to get my time with my daughter. And the lies just continued. And the more they started to spread, the more they clamped down and hid my daughter from me and have not allowed me to see her. Now, I contacted several people from that area and made friends with them. And that's what I would do when I go up there. I'd go up there and visit with them. I go to something at the court or whatever. And I was just spending time up there trying to figure out how am I going to get to see my daughter and be in her life and be instrumental. And it's sad for me. It tears my heart out. But guys, I would be selfish if I was just focused on me. I'm more concerned about my daughter Jersey. It's not right and it's not fair that she has to grow up without a dad and hearing lies about her father, when in fact I'm a great father. And I've got 3 great children here that could testify to that. We've had a lot of great times over the years. I've never mistreated them in any way, and I would gladly have anybody back that up that really truly knows the situation. And so I feel for Jersey. I feel bad for her, and I hope that someday that the truth rises to the top and she knows, what really truly happened here. And more than that, I hope that we get to spend time together because I miss her tremendously. I think about her. I think about her every day. Now, some of you might be thinking, my goodness, what the heck is Tyson doing? Has he lost his mind? Why is he coming on here like saying all this personal information? Because, ladies and gentlemen, I'm to the point in my life now, and I think our world is to the point where we need to live with the throttle wide open, and we need to live true to our truth, and we need to make our voices heard. If there's an injustice or something that's not right, we always have some power, and that is the power of our voice. And I'm not going to be silenced, especially when it's something this important to me and has been for a long time. It's changed me. This has fundamentally changed who I am, and in a good way. And that's not to say that it hasn't come at a very heavy price of a lot of suffering and a lot of sleepless nights, a lot of stress, a lot of hurt and pain, but I'm grateful for the person that I am. I'm grateful. But I do have some missing links in my life. I have some things that I would like to take care of, and this is one of them. I would love to see my daughter and spend time with her. And so here's the proposal, and here's the solution, ladies and gentlemen. If there's anybody out there who would love to help me and be a part of this journey as I try to expose the truth surrounding my daughter Jersey, then it would be much appreciated, whether it be monetarily, whether it be emotionally, psychologically, or just showing up here on my videos, whatever. I don't care. Just support me in any way that you can, because this needs to happen for Jersey and for me. So, one of the things that I thought that might happen through all these videos and through all the things that we did with Suzanne Morphew is that it would put me in the public eye, on the news, on different crime shows and this and that, and it would keep me in the public eye to where Jersey could pick up a phone or get on a tablet or whatever, click on the internet and get a glimpse of her dad. And get a glimpse of who he is and what he's about. Because he truly is about helping people. And that was the main driving force with the Suzanne Morphew case, is just to help, just to help and be a voice for the voiceless. And that's what I continue to do. That's what I will continue to do with the Suzanne Morphew case. It's far from over, ladies and gentlemen. It's far from over. We still got a lot of ground to cover. And I still think there's a lot of things ahead. I am very grateful that I got a Christmas card from Suzanne Morphew's sister, Melinda Mormon, and her husband. I think his name is Joe. But I did a quick video on it, but I want to point it out again that I'm grateful that she recognized our efforts and the things that we did on behalf of Suzanne. And I'm glad that she recognized them for what they were, that it wasn't a power grab, or it wasn't to get monetized. I mean, yeah, there was a little phase there where it was getting a little iffy and I was getting really uncomfortable with all that, but that soon dropped off. And my heart was right back in the right place of, doing what we were called to do. And her brother, Andy Mormon, there was a lot of stuff when he came out for the search. There was a lot of rumors, a lot of stuff going around. And I'm not sure exactly what he heard, but I know deep in his heart he's grateful for everybody's efforts. And so, that such a great feeling and such a great thing for Suzanne to be found out there in the boneyard. I mean, not that she was found dead, but that we were able to recover her body, give her a proper burial, and proceed forward, with who is responsible for this. So, but ladies and gentlemen, this video has been long overdue. I appreciate your patience, and I appreciate your understanding in me putting a video out like this. I don't do this lightly. I wouldn't do it unless it was something that meant a lot to me. There are people in Manassas, Colorado, that little town, who know the truth and who have been on my side and support me. And I want to say I appreciate you guys. But to those of you who have bought into the lies, the half-truths and all that, I encourage you to open your mind and realize that there's never just one side to the story. And, just try to see the whole thing. And as you do that, as you look into it a little more, you'll see that I wasn't wrong in a lot of things, that the truth was hidden and the truth was skewed. So, I'm not really sure what else to say besides that, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to be posting stuff on Gila Valley Tribune. You guys know that if you go there and you look around, you know that I'm a pretty political person now. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm pretty political with everything that's going on in our world. And I didn't used to be, like I mentioned at the top, but I am now. And the reason why is because I'm very close to the southern border, and we have a disaster here. We have a crisis going on, a humanitarian crisis, and it breaks my heart for a lot of the people that are showing up here at the border, because they're showing up here under false pretenses, under a bunch of lies, and when they arrive, they're being a lot of them are being trafficked into human trafficking, and it's just an absolute total mess. So I'm standing up for what's right. I'm standing up for what I believe, and I'm going to do that until I take my last breath. So anyway, guys, I haven't been reading the comments. If you put a bunch of comments supporting me, I want to just do a blanket statement and tell you how much I appreciate it and how much I love you guys, like always. And I hope you'll continue to support me in all that I do, because there's some things that are undone here. There's some things that are undone. And one of them is who killed Suzanne Morphew, and the other one is I want to see Jersey. And they're both injustices that need to be put under the microscope here. So anyway, with that, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to wrap it up. I hope you guys all have a wonderful day. If you get a chance, please share this video and check back often. We'll be doing more stuff here pretty soon. Y'all have a great day. Talk to you soon, okay? Bye-bye.